Before we get going, I would like to acknowledge two of our sponsors this evening, Horace Height of the Horace Height Estates, a residential community located in Sherman Oaks, the place you come home to, and Gaspar Insurance for all of your insurance needs with offices right here in Woodland Hills Warner Center. If we can have a bit of applause for those two folks. They're making it possible for us to videotape and bring this to the rest of the community. For those of you who submitted questions, I'm going to try to whittle them down as much as I can, and I'm going to simply ask the candidates themselves if you will respond. Some of them are to a few candidates. Not everybody got asked questions, so I don't think it's fair to ask one candidate 5 questions and other candidates no questions. So here are a couple of questions that I'd like to throw out, and I'd like to have a very quick, like a 15 to 20 second response from you. What are you going to do to restore the two-party system in California, and how difficult is it really now to govern in California with essentially one party controlling everything? Let's start with, I guess, Tricia, if you can start us off on that question.
Well, I actually think it's more about making sure that we do what we need to do for our state as a whole and being respectful with each other and listening for the commonalities that we can legislate towards rather than butting heads over the stuff that we can't fix. So I think it's more about, what do they say? Politics is the art of the possible.
Thank you. Anchor, how do you feel about that question? How do you see the two-party system, if it's broken in California, if it no longer exists? How are we going to govern ourselves with one party in power?
Part of the problem is the influence of money in politics and how money has purchased particular parties, and then it shifts to one party and influences that in different ways as well. So I think the influence of money would go a long way in restoring a multi-party system here in the state of California.
Thank you. And Jesse, how do you feel about this?
I mean, the party dynamics are what they are, and that's a result of the preferences of the voters in the state. If I'm lucky enough to go up there, I'm going to work with anybody I can to do good things for the Valley, whether they're really progressive or really conservative. And I think that a lot of the good work we need to do is going to involve compromise, and it's also going to involve fighting for the Valley to make sure we get our fair share of resources.
Justin?
The voters may be lucky enough to this cycle see on the ballot the repeal of the top 2 system, and I think that that's going to be crucial to restoring a voice for a large sect that's long been lost, had not felt like they don't have a voice in the state. When people are disenfranchised, they're less likely to want to vote. They're less likely to want to make their opinions heard, and they just feel overwhelmingly left behind. And we can't have that when our state already has extremely low voter turnout and is suffering from lack of participation due to things like low government transparency, for example.
Daniel?
I advocate a preferential balloting system in which we could have people from all different kinds of walks of life, political viewpoints participating in the system, and the person who is most liked will get elected at the end. And as a neighborhood council president, I've been working with conservatives, Republicans, and we work positively because it doesn't really matter what your political viewpoint is if you're fixing the roads.
Thank you. And Jeff?
You know, I think we do have a two-party system in this state. We have the progressive Democrats and we have the business Democrats, and I'm pretty happy with that, honestly. I don't want to be compromising with the Republicans if I don't have to. And if I do have to, I'm willing to trade. But right now I don't have to, and I don't want to.
Ray?
Well, I'm on the executive board of the Democratic Party, and I've been a Democrat since my whole life because the values of people are dear to my heart. I chair the Business and Professions Caucus for 10 years, and so to me, it's both progressive and business, and the only problem, we have to keep the influence of money out of our Democratic parties, and a Democratic Party fits to the nature of people. You find a home that if it works for you and it properly describes your support for your issues, then you have to be a party person and work with them.